The Slave Dealer by Thomas Pringle. Now, this is a very painful poem. Thomas Pringle was born in a completely different era from 1789 to 1834. Now, Thomas Pringle, he emigrated to South Africa in 1820, and he's often called the father of South African poetry. And whilst he was in Kaapstad, in Cape Town, he published a newspaper and a magazine, but these were suppressed because of the reformist views Pringle expressed. Now, he returned to London in 1826, where he spent all his life as an activist in the anti-slavery movement. So, quick summary of the poem. The speaker highlights the subject of slavery from a slave dealer's point of view. Now, the slave dealer is a person who deals with the sale of people from... I really hate this poem, actually. This poem... This era, it is so painful to speak about. It is disgusting what other humans have done to others. So, yeah, I just want to punch all the slave dealers. Anyway, Goon School, chill out. The sale of people from poor to upper class backgrounds, and forcefully removing and transporting these people from their families to other countries and continents. Okay, I don't know if you can hear some rain in the background. Very nice, very soothing. Okay, so the type and form of the slave dealer. This poem is actually a ballad. You spell ballad like this, which retells the story of a son who returns home to his mother after being away for a long time trading in slaves. Now, this poem, it has 8 stanzas of 6 lines each. So 8 times 6, 48. Quick maths, it's 48 lines. And each stanza has its own rhyme scheme. So, quick analysis of everything. Stanza 1. Now, in stanza 1, in lines 1 to 2 in particular, the slave dealer is compared to a traveler whose face has tanned to a brownish color because he has been spending a lot of time in the sun. So that's coming from lines 1 and 2. Now, his mother does not recognize him. This is from lines 3 all the way to 6. The mother is capitalized. She's an important figure. Does not recognize him because the harshness of the sun has altered his outward appearance. The evil path he had chosen is also reflected in his face and frame, and she only recognizes him after he tells her his name. The long and lost, it suggests that she last saw him a long time ago. A long time ago. Whatever was he doing in that period. So here, this is all from the perspective of the slave dealer. In stanza 2, in lines 7 to 8, the anger in him is compared to a fever, which makes him hot, and he's angry at himself. The bad thoughts of what he has done, they absolutely haunt him, and he cannot get rid of them. He's almost suffering here from PTSD, and his mother tries, rather unsuccessfully, to make him change his thoughts and forgive himself. But he's absolutely tormented. How do we know he's tormented? Because Pringle, our poet, has used the word racked. He's racked by remorse and pain. He's remorseful. He wishes that he had never done it. That is very, very painful, actually. So I guess, well, he was quote unquote one of the good ones. He has a conscience here, but yeah, I don't think he can ever forget the atrocities that he has committed, our slave dealer. In stanza 3, at times, just for a brief moment, the slave driver gets a gleam of hope, but it does not last for too long. That's happening in lines 13 to 14. This actually happens when the mother prays with him in lines 15 to 16. So this is all happening here. He gets a gleam of hope, and his mom begins to pray for him, pray for her child. And the mental pictures and thoughts of all of his bad deeds, it chases the good thoughts away. So it's like bad versus good here. It's a brawl, like Mayweather versus Jake Paul, whatever nonsense that was. Now, in stanza 4, making a little rainbow here. So lines 19 to 20 in particular, the speaker continues to be haunted by the terrible deeds he committed. The blood that is on his hands. It refers to the blood of innocent people he killed during his days as a slave trader. The blood on his hands. He feels that he cannot be forgiven for his actions, which water cannot wash. He can't be forgiven. In line 20, there is just a tinge of regret in the speaker's tone, and he believes that it would have been better if the blood was spilled on a battlefield, which is considered heroic. Still ridiculous, okay? It's just a bunch of rich people sending a bunch of not rich people to war. Maybe I shouldn't have killed them for that. Maybe, if they were killed in battle, that would have been like a bit more heroic. Nonsense. Don't like that, but that's what the poem analysis says. And in lines 22 to 24, the speaker gives a clear picture of what causes his hands to be covered in blood. Now, using a whip to vigorously lash at the slaves, each stroke opens a deep cut from which the blood flows. Now, here there is a contrast between someone who kills when he is brave in war and the speaker who is an absolute coward and beats up helpless people who can offer no resistance. A coward beating up helpless people versus a warrior on a battlefield fighting for his country or a cause that he actually believes in. It is not shed where warriors bled. It dropped from the gory lash. Innocent people, helpless people that he had a hand in butchering. And in lines 22 to 24, the speaker gives a clear picture, just to reiterate, of what causes his hands to be covered in blood. So he has got blood on his hands here. And look, that is a big part of the poem. He is a criminal, he's a violent individual, he's committed all these crimes against humanity, and that has broken him. So that's a really, really important part of the poem. In stanza 5, in lines 25 to 26, the speaker continues giving clear images of his horrific actions, and he uses hyperbole to emphasize the enormity of the pain he inflicted on the slaves. Hyperbole, a gross exaggeration. No amount of water can wash the blood from his hands, in lines 27 and 28. And in line 28, the speaker uses a metaphor of dye, D-Y-E, a murder's dye, to refer to the blood of the slaves that the slave trader is guilty of shredding. Now, the blood is compared to dye that can never ever be washed out. And in lines 29 to 30 over here, the speaker says that his mother's prayers cannot erase the sound of the woman's cry before she died. That woman who was probably a mother. And the agony that he put her through, it still haunts him. He regrets it. He is suffering here from PTSD. In stanza 6 and line 31 in particular, the speaker confesses that the sound of the woman's cry keeps ringing on in his ear. Ever in my ear, it's everlasting. It makes it very difficult for him to pray, and he still has clear mental images of how she looked as she lay, dying from the injuries the speaker had inflicted on her. And he can still hear the sound of her voice. The woman reminds him that he will be judged with her on Judgment Day. He will be judged on Judgment Day. So a nice allusion here, a religious allusion, not illusion. Like I'm Harry Houdini performing, a magic trick. Allusion, how it relates to a religious text, intertext. He will be judged when all is said and done, Armageddon, all of that. He will be judged on that ever so special day. Is he going to go to heaven? Is he going to go to HELL? I don't want to say that word. I don't want to get the video flagged. But yeah, it's a biblical allusion. Biblical relating to the Bible. And you can see that in stanza 7. Now, Christ from frenzy, keep my son. There's an alliteration here in line 39 that emphasizes the torturous thoughts the mother has. Keep my son. She prays and says that her son has been possessed by an evil spirit. The son explains that it's not true and that the avenging angel has witnessed his evil deeds, his ever so evil deeds. Nay, mother, the avenging one, an angel, has witnessed his evil deeds. Finally, in stanza 8, we've got the alliteration here, writhing wretch. That's an alliteration of that WR sound. In line 43, it hardens words to show how she moved to try and save herself from him. And the angry the furious, heel. It creates a clear image of the brutality with which he kills the slave. He's a murderer. And in lines 45 to 46, finally, the woman's pleading cries are actually ignored by the speaker, but God listens as she cries out. God lends an ear to her and, to everyone who has suffered at his hands. Sorry, that is lines 45 to 46. That is her pleading to God. She has her pleading cries. And finally, in lines 47 to 48, the speaker states he must face his fate before God, and he is scared. God will judge him for how he has treated others. So some key themes we have here. There are 3. Take a guess. What do you think there are? They are. Okay, just feel free to pause the video before I write it down. So, it's torment, slavery, and remorse. The speaker reveals the slave dealer's torment and anguish throughout. There's a lot of turmoil and sadness through so much emotive language. Regarding slavery, the horror of slavery is told through the personal experiences of the speaker, who is actually a slave dealer. And remorse, the speaker expresses the slave dealer's feelings through stanza 4. There's blood upon my hands. The tone and mood. Well, the tone here is remorseful. He genuinely feels bad for what he's done. Really, he's committed the worst possible crimes. He regrets his misdeeds, and the mood here is rather, it's somber, it's sad. That's a nice word, somber. It's very like high-level English. As the speaker is haunted by the dreadful memories of what he has done in the past. Very, very painful poem. Yeah, I really wish all of this didn't happen, but it has shaped the lives that we lived today. But yeah, take it with a pinch of salt. I don't ever want to glamorize anything like this. Probably the worst crime ever committed by human beings. Slavery, indentured labor, all of that. But yeah, this is a nice, a tough poem, The Slave Dealer by Thomas Pringle. I hope you enjoyed it. Cheers.